Chapter 5, 147, Forged by Battle. Feeling his flesh break apart and his heart grow cold, Sonny scrambled to defend himself, but to no avail. Morgan easily crushed his attempts to resist and delivered another series of devastating strikes, moving with terrifying precision and speed. Her movements were fluid and natural, as if wielding a weapon was as innate to her as breathing, as if battle was her native environment instead of peace. Her swordsmanship was unlike anything Sonny had ever seen, too. It wasn't even as though the sword served as an extension of Morgan's arm. It was as though she herself was the sword, and so every motion she made was the purest expression of cold, merciless killing intent. He had never thought that he would meet a more terrifying swordsman than Nephis, but compared to this knight of valor, the daughter of the immortal Flame Clan almost seemed like a novice. Sonny was instantly overwhelmed, and there was nothing he could do to maintain even a sliver of control. The situation was utterly hopeless. This feeling of absolute, bitter powerlessness. He had not experienced it in a long time. Attain a breakthrough to the second step of Shadow Dance? Sonny wasn't even sure that he would be able to stay alive for another couple of seconds. He had to think of something fast. Following a mental command, the mantle of the underworld received one of his charms. Immediately, the familiar but strongly enhanced pain of his soul being torn apart flooded his whole being with agony. Sonny didn't hope that the broken oath would help him defeat Morgan. After all, as an Ascended, she had a much more powerful soul. All he wanted was a second of respite. Morgan suddenly slowed down, allowing him to disengage and take several steps back. For a moment, there was a slight grimace on her face, but it was quickly replaced by the same relaxed, amused smile. A nice trick. Sonny bent slightly and vomited a mouthful of blood, thin streams of crimson flowing through the fangs of the black mask. The sight of it was both frightening and striking. When he straightened, something about him changed. Well, of course it did. He had commanded two shadows resting on the autumn lid to wrap themselves around his body, after all. Instantly, his strength, speed, and resilience tripled. Sonny had not wanted to augment himself before, but faced with the devastating onslaught of the terrifying Battle Master, he had no other choice. If he wished to learn anything from this fight, he had to make it last more than just a few seconds. Morgan noticed the subtle shift in his posture and tilted her head slightly. Her smile suddenly widened. Good, this is much better. Sonny dismissed the broken oath, but before the charm even had time to disappear, the young woman was already upon him once again in a whirlwind of ruthless steel. However, this time, things were different. Or rather, slightly different. What the actual hell? Sonny was still hopelessly outmatched, barely managing to survive under the merciless barrage of lightning-fast, cruel attacks. Previously, he had judged that his peak physical might would be on par with a newly ascended master. Even though Sonny wasn't currently using the third shadow, it had to remain on the ground to keep his secrets. The gap between Morgan and him was not supposed to remain that vast. But there was a mistake in his reasoning. He had compared himself to an average master. However, Morgan of Valor was not average in any way. She hailed from one of the three great clans, and was possibly even a member of its core family. Among the awakened, she was a being at the absolute apex of might. Come on. And yet he was able to do something now, at least. Even though Morgan was still dominating the fight and delivering one devastating blow after another, Sonny could perceive her movements and react. He dodged one strike, then deflected another. A third one still connected with his elbow, sending a blinding flash of pain through his body. But it was already an incredible achievement. Morgan seemed pleased by this new development. Her crimson lips curved, revealing pearly white teeth. Yes, finally! You are supposed to be a genius, aren't you? Show me. Come on, fight! What the hell is wrong with this girl? Sonny gritted his teeth and fought, barely staying alive. No matter how much he pushed himself, how much he struggled to keep up with the fearsome master, all he could achieve was not being instantly obliterated. But that was it. Even with two shadows augmenting his body, Sonny saw no hope of winning. Despite the fact that Morgan was holding back her strength, She was simply a monster. No, she was something much more terrible. He had faced and killed many monsters, many demons, and many devils, but none of them could compare to this beautiful, horrifying young woman. However, even if he was going to lose, it was all not in vain. With every blow he suffered, every strike he somehow defended against, Sonny was learning. Morgan's battle style was too elevated for him to grasp, but every glimpse of it he saw was fueling something inside of him. It was as though he had laid a solid foundation by absorbing numerous styles, and now they were being forged into something different, something whole by the insane pressure fighting this monstrous creature exerted on him. His body felt as if it was on the verge of breaking apart, and his vision was slowly becoming blurred, but Sonny felt as though he was on the verge of a revelation. And when it came, it was as though a floodgate was opened in his mind. Suddenly, all the disparate fragments of knowledge he had absorbed formed into a cohesive tapestry, allowing him to see the shared logic between the various styles he had learned. He was able to perceive these styles from a new perspective, understanding not only their purpose, but also much of the reasoning behind each technique and movement much deeper. Yes, this is it. And due to this new level of insight, Sonny was also able to see a flaw in Morgan's assault, her one and only weakness. Yes, the young woman herself was too powerful and skilled for him to destroy. But her sword, that was a different matter. It was just a dormant memory after all. Instantly, a plan formed in his mind. As time seemed to slow down, Sonny deflected another blow, shifted his body slightly, and then suddenly took a step toward the flashing sword, catching its blade between his left arm and his torso, and then bringing his right fist on it. He put all of his strength behind it, increasing the weight of his gauntlet as much as he could at the last moment. All his muscles strained, on the verge of exploding. After numerous clashes against the adamantine surface of the mantle of the underworld, the sword was weakened already. So when Sonny's fist connected with it, the steel blade simply shattered, exploding into numerous sharp splinters. Got you. Burning with dark excitement, Sonny continued his movement, aiming to bring the soul serpent down on now defenseless Morgan before she had time to process what had happened and adjust. But before he could, terrible pain suddenly exploded in his chest, and all strength left his hands. The hilt of the Odachi slid from his fingers, and the dark sword silently fell to the ground. Sonny swayed, and then looked down in confusion. What happened? What he saw didn't make any sense. Morgan's pale, slender hand was protruding from his armor, blood streaming down the smooth onyx surface. She had pierced the mantle of the underworld with her bare hand, her fingers plunging through flesh and bone to tear his heart apart. Sonny had made a mistake. How is this possible? Ascended. Memory. 6th tier. He looked up, darkness shrouding his vision. Is this what it feels like? To die? Everything was dark, and all he could see now were two beautiful vermilion eyes, staring at him with regret and disappointment. Morgan sighed. 36 seconds. Well done. You fought well. The last thing Sonny felt before slipping into nothingness was a spark of energy traveling from her hand into his body. And then he found himself in the black void of the dreamscape. His pain disappeared, as did his wounds. He felt healthy and whole. The duel was over. As he stared into the darkness, the spell whispered quietly, "You have received a memory." But Ho didn't react, looking into the void with a heavy frown on his face. Somewhere above, near the set of images representing different arenas, a string of words floated. Mongrel. Victories, 923. Defeats, 1.